What's going on, everyone? This is DM Brad from the Spoiler Alert Network, and today I'm here with Dirt Sheet and Showtime, and we're back with another top 5 discussion. And in this video we're going to be talking about our top 5 favorite RPG games. For those of you not familiar, RPG stands for role-playing game, and the way this works, we'll each go through each of our picks. We'll talk about the reasons why. And some of our picks could be completely different. Some of them might be the same, and that's alright. That's what this is for. We're going to discuss each of our favorites. But we're just going to go ahead and jump into it. Start over here with Dirt Sheet.
Guys, I dropped the ball on this one. I put the wrong RPGs down. I thought we were talking about rocket-propelled guided systems. So I put my top... You know, f*** it. You guys are going to hear my favorite rocket launchers from games now. I don't give a shit. I done did the list. So, f*** your role-playing game, f*** your LARPing. We're going to talk about rocket launchers over here. So, we're starting number 5 on my list of RPGs with Ratchet & Clank, the series. Because everything in that series is a rocket launcher. But if I had to pick one, I'm going to go with the Rhino, which is an abbreviation for Rip You a New One. And this thing launches homing missiles, 8 of them at one time at your face. You're not surviving. I don't give a f*** who you are. So, sorry guys. Didn't mean to drop the ball on this one.
In the third game, if you upgrade it all the way to the highest rank, they just turn to dust. It just Thanos snaps everybody on screen.
So, but
are you being serious?
That's my favorite. That's my 5th favorite RPG.
That's the list you can. Are you being serious?
I'm being dead serious right now.
You did not.
I did. Don't look at my list, Bradley. No spoilers. But look at my title. Top 5 RPGs in games. Don't fire me.
Oh my god.
But yeah, I did a top 5 RPGs in games.
Not role-playing games.
Me.
That's your whole list, just RPGs.
Yep.
Not role-playing games.
And you'll have to wait and find them all out.
Oh god.
Showtime, what's your 5th favorite RPG game?
I actually did the list right. So, my number 5 is Kingdom Hearts.
There's no rockets in that game. None.
It's almost like a JRPG.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's got elements of a JRPG, so yeah. That counts.
Yeah, for sure.
That counts.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's very extremely similar to the Final Fantasy series, and that's what I take to be an RPG game. Anything where you have a party of characters and you play your role-playing game.
Yeah.
Not rocket-propelled grenade launcher.
There's only one right RPG, so I suggest you let that one marinate.
Alright.
So my top 5 favorite RPG role-playing game, not rocket-propelled grenade launcher.
Say what you will. I'm proud of my list.
In any case, it's City of Heroes, which is no longer a thing. Paragon Studios, originally NCSoft, shut down all the servers to move on to new projects, much to the dismay of a lot of fans of the game. But it threw you into a world where you could create your own superhero or supervillain, customize them, and you can start playing in... It played like any other typical RPG. It was a massive multiplayer online RPG. You play with other people all across the world. And you start out, you can create your character. You can give them an origin. There's a few different types of origins you could select, like It's technology based, or it's just natural that you trained yourself to be like a Batman, basically, or could be like a mystical origin, things like that. And you could select your archetype, like heavy or things like that, and you get to select a primary and a secondary power set, as well as you can create the actual avatar, and you had a ton of different options to customize your look, and it seemed almost endless. And then optionally you could create the color of your power set, like you can make it red, green, blue, whatever.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, the effects, they had some great effects on there. And then another option, which I enjoyed doing, I spent too much time in the character creation because of this, is you can write a background story for your hero or villain.
So this is like D&D the movie or
Kinda.
video game.
Kinda. Kinda, yeah. And it played a lot like World of Warcraft, just the gameplay, but you were thrown into a starting area. You could choose to skip the tutorial area and just go straight into a low-level area, or you could play through the tutorial, and then once you get through all that, you can select whether you want to become a hero or a villain, and from then on, the rest of your quests will play out one way or the other. And the only game now, I believe, that compares to it in any sense, which I don't think it's as good, honestly, but the DC Universe Online game plays a lot like it, and it's very similar, so I enjoyed playing that just to kind of make up for not being able to play City of Heroes anymore. But it was a great experience while it lasted. So, move on to Dirt Sheet with our number 4.
On my rocket-propelled grenade launchers list, I honestly thought you were just going to pass it back to Showtime and just cut me out of the rest of the video. But my fourth favorite rocket launcher is the Micro Missile Launcher from the Doom 2016 reboot. And I like this rocket launcher because it is an automatic rocket launcher. Anything that can anything that explodes, shoots exploding missiles, shouldn't be able to fire at automatic speeds. It's just unfair. It's not right. So that is my fourth favorite rocket-propelled missile launcher. Showtime?
It seems like we have different definitions of RPG. Obviously, you got your grenade launchers, and you got your MMO, like, build a character and everything. And then mine are a list of games where you play a role-playing game. It's in the title.
I agree. Rocket-propelled grenade launchers.
So my number 4 is Mass Effect, because you have the elements of choosing your play style. And you don't necessarily choose what kind of character you are, but you choose what your strengths and weaknesses are in Mass Effect. So you choose what role you play.
Yeah.
You choose what kind of weapons you're going to use and all that stuff.
Tremendous pick.
Yeah, I
Great
thought
series.
so. I really enjoyed Mass Effect 1 and 2, and as Dirt Sheet has said a couple times, where the elements, the fact that Mass Effect allows you to take your choices from the first series, or the first game, and move them on to the second game in the series, and then move those choices onto the third game in the series.
The continued universe. Yep.
Yeah, the continued universe, and that's something that was groundbreaking at the time, but that doesn't really make it an RPG game, but it definitely makes it a great game.
Alright, so my number 4 pick for top 5 RPG role-playing game is got to be Fallout New Vegas, which is arguably the best game in the Fallout series, in my opinion. I enjoyed Fallout 3 a lot, and I enjoyed Fallout 4 more recently, but there's a lot of elements that were in New Vegas that didn't show up in the newer game. So mostly I think the factions, kind of the way the system worked, was a lot different, and a fun little thing that I liked doing, you can wear the armor or clothing of whatever faction, and you can basically blend in to that faction, and if they see you on the road or something, they won't attack you if they normally would if you weren't wearing those clothes. And it, just like most role-playing games, you can customize your character, pick different looks for them, and different skills, and each playthrough is massively different depending on how you do it. You could choose to be small guns, big guns, I mean, whatever you want. And you had a lot of options. There was a perk in there called Wild Wasteland, where it increased the probability of you seeing something just totally crazy and outlandish through the whole game, and that was a fun element to it. The story's pretty good too. You start out as a courier taking a message, and you get shot in the head and buried alive, left for dead, and this robot comes and finds you. And overall, it's a really fun game. It's definitely in my top picks. I've played a lot, but anyway, that's about all I got for that. So we'll move on to our number 3 pick. I'm so ready for this.
Okay, so my third favorite RPG in a game is the Devastator from Duke Nukem 3D, way back in like the 1890s or whenever it came out. This was 2D animation. But the reason I like this rocket launcher is because not only is it a double-barreled rocket launcher, but it fires at semi-automatic speeds. This was the only rocket launcher, the only weapon in the entire franchise that Duke Nukem had to hold with both hands. He had to dual wield this weapon. It was so destructive. So that's the reason why this rocket launcher made my list. Showtime?
My number 3 pick is Borderlands. And Borderlands follows a little bit more of Brad's definition of what a role-playing game is. A little bit more. And in this game, you can pick which class of character you want to be. They have 4 different options. Each one has their own special abilities, strengths, and weaknesses. And each one plays a little bit different throughout the course of the game with different gameplay options and gameplay mechanics. And I think that that is the hallmark of a good role-playing game.
Alright, my number 3 is another MMORPG. It would be RuneScape, the old school RuneScape. It started out, I forget what year, it was a long time ago, as just RuneScape. And then they rewrote the game engine and re-released it as what they called RuneScape 2, which eventually became RuneScape, and then they called the old version RuneScape Classic, which you can still play today, I believe. And after several updates, it became what is known as RuneScape 3 now, and it's a totally different game, but they re-released the RuneScape 2 version on mobile. Call it RuneScape Old School, or Old School RuneScape, one of the two. And I had to download it for the nostalgia factor. I used to play this game in computer lab at school when I was supposed to be getting work done, and I didn't, but until they blocked it. It's a free-to-play game, and you can also pay for a 30-day subscription. To keep renewing it, you become a member, and with that you can unlock all 27 skills that you can level up, and originally there's only 17 for free-to-play players. But you start out, you create your character, you kind of give them a look. There's not a whole lot of different options, but then they send you to Tutorial Island, where they teach you all the basics of like learning how to level up each skill, and then you hop into the massive online world, play with other players. You can complete quests at your discretion. You can just go level up. A lot of people just go level up their wood cutting skill, chop down trees, start to make fires. And combat is a important factor in this game. They use a mathematical formula. It's a semi-real-time combat system. It's almost turn-based, feels like, but not really. But another fun element of this game is you can journey into, once you're leveled up enough, you can journey into the wilderness, where you can run into high-level creatures, and then you can PvP with other players around your same level. And a big fun aspect for me was you could join clans, and there was an area in the wilderness called Clan Wars, where you could join different clans, and then you teleport to a battlefield, face other clans, and whoever has the most players left, whoever eliminates the other clan wins. That was a fun thing a lot of people enjoyed. But I'm super stoked they brought this game back on mobile, because I just jumped right back into it. You have to start a new character, but it's fun looking back and starting over. That nostalgia factor brings back a lot of memories for me, so that's why it made my list for sure. Alright, your next pick.
Alright, so my second favorite RPG in any game is actually a weapon from Showtime's pick of favorite role-playing games from the Mass Effect series, and that is the guided missile launcher from Mass Effect 2. And it is a heavy weapon that you unlock relatively late in the game, and this weapon is really cool because the missile head releases dark energy upon impact, and it strips away the molecular integrity of the target and anything in the vicinity. But f the science. I don't give a shit about the science. The best thing about this weapon is it is the most adorable sound you will ever hear from a destructive weapon. It goes pew whenever it fires a rocket, and it's the best thing ever. That's why it made my list. Showtime?
My number 2 is Skyrim.
That's it. Just
Oh, that's
Skyrim.
it. Short and
Yeah, have
sweet.
you played Skyrim?
Ah, absolutely.
Fucking amazing.
Oh yeah.
There's no missiles in Skyrim. None.
I mean, maybe with mods.
You're not wrong. Never mind. I rest my case. So,
I'll elaborate a little bit, I guess. This game was released in 2011, and there's thousands of people that still play Skyrim every day, and this game is 8 years old. And the amount of stuff to do in a game that's 8 years old is crazy to me. The RPG elements include creating your own character, choosing your own race. Each race has its benefits over the other races. Like, I believe Argonians can breathe underwater.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I always choose Argonians because I don't want to drown, because that's a fear of mine. Although you don't really spend any time in water.
well, they also took away the breath meter that you had in Oblivion.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't know when you're gonna just fucking drown in Skyrim.
Your health just and you're dead.
You're just swimming at your leisure, and then you're dead.
See, that's something I wouldn't know because I always play as an Argonian because I fear drowning.
I don't blame you. And Argonians are resistant to poison, 50%.
You're right. So, Argonians, the way to go. So, beyond having whichever race you choose, having its own benefits over the other, you can also choose which skills matter to you and focus on those. This game has a leveling system where the more you use something, the more it levels up. You don't just get to put points into what you like. If you use your one-handed weapons, then one-handed weapons will increase. If you use your two-handed weapons, then that'll increase. You don't just put points into which skills you like. And that's one of the things that I like about Skyrim.
My number 2 pick is another MMORPG, and it has to be World of Warcraft. I played a lot in high school. Can't so much now because it's 30 day. I think it's 30 days. You pay however much money for a subscription. But I'm not talking about the current version. I'm talking about the vanilla version before any of the expansions, or even after Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King came out. It was still, you got a few new characters, a few new areas, your level cap went up. So before the Cataclysm event expansion. But it's a game, you can play it in third or first person, which I actually just found out recently. I forgot about that, but that's not super important. And it's very similar to Skyrim. You can pick your race, but each race is a part of a certain alliance in this big conflict. You either choose a race from the Alliance faction or the Horde faction, and you have humans, night elves, orcs. I mean, if you've ever played it, you know. And then you pick a certain class, you get certain skills. It's not like Skyrim where you can level up each skill at your leisure. You have a set of skills depending on what class you pick. And it throws you into a different starting area depending on which race you pick. And there's a different story behind each race, like the struggles they've been through. And it's a cool story behind it. The lore of the game is very intriguing and just gets you hooked. And a huge aspect of this game, besides level grinding like any other RPG, is the PvP and the dungeon raids, which this game is now famous for the unforgettable Leroy Jenkins meme.
Alright, chums up. Ready, guys? Let's do this. Leroy Jenkins!
Oh my god, he just ran in.
That was during a dungeon raid. But that was a big reason players kind of gravitated to this game, is the social interaction between different players and teaming up. And they had different PvP games, like capture the flag type of game. All in all, it was just pretty fun. It was a colorful, vibrant game, and it was fun to play back in the day. And that's the reason it made my list, just because of how much fun I had playing it while I could. Okay, so now we're going to pass it back to Dirt Sheet for his number 1 pick for top 5 RPGs.
Okay, so I don't even need the list for this one. This is a no-brainer. If you guys like death, if you like destruction, if you like explosions,
Michael Bay.
close. Honorable mention. But the number 1 rocket launcher in any game, in any series, is the Fat Man from the Fallout series. Because what does a Fallout from a nuclear apocalypse need? More nukes. This thing launches mini nukes. I rest my case. This thing will kill anything you point it at. Showtime.
You're right. I mean, you're just right. Fallout series and their mini nukes belong at the top of anybody's list, which is why Fallout New Vegas is my #1 RPG. And New Vegas, just talk more about your grenade launchers. New Vegas added weapon mods. Fallout 3 didn't have that. And in New Vegas, you could have weapon mods to increase the effectiveness of weapons, such as the Fat Man. And that was just one aspect.
How do you increase the effectiveness of a mini nuke launcher?
I'll tell you how. You just make them bigger. You just make the mini nukes bigger. Like in Fallout New Vegas, they had the little boy attachment for the Fat Man, named after the.
So you put a little boy on a Fat Man?
They were named after the corresponding nukes that fell on Hiroshima, Japan, and Nagasaki
Fly that freedom flag.
in the 40s. Both of the weapons were named after those bombs, and I believe the little boy had a wider blast radius or something like that. It was just supposed to be better in some way than the standard Fat Man. And that's just a tie-in to Dirt Sheet's list about rocket launchers, because he's an idiot. But the New Vegas installment in the Fallout series is the best Fallout game and the best role-playing game that I've ever played personally. In this series, you choose what kind of playstyle you're going to have, as in other role-playing games. And you can choose, like Bradley said earlier, with his small guns, big guns, unarmed, melee, explosives. You could play any playstyle you want. Energy weapons is an option if you like laser rifles or plasma rifles. And you can play any way you want in this game. No matter what kind of weapons you want to use, your playstyle will be accommodated. If you want to run through the whole game just punching the shit out of everything you see, you can do that.
Punch a Deathclaw.
You can punch a Deathclaw.
Do it.
It's not going to work out well for you,
No.
but you can do it.
You don't know that.
I mean, maybe.
So.
But like Brad was saying earlier with the Wild Wasteland perk, you can see aliens instead of raiders at certain points. And you can get an alien blaster instead of finding a Gauss rifle or other things like that. And these are just situations that are a little bit stranger due to taking this perk. Doesn't extremely change the gameplay, it just makes it a little bit more fun. And little tweaks like that are what make Fallout New Vegas a lot of fun. But the things that make it the #1 RPG are the fact that some of your decisions matter. You choose which faction you want to side with. You could be with Caesar's Legion, you could be with the Brotherhood of Steel, you could go with Mr. House and do what he wants, or you could go off on your own, go with Yes Man the Robot, and just take over everything for yourself. And just those kind of choices that just drastically change how the game is going to play out make Fallout New Vegas not only the best role-playing game of all time and the best Fallout game of all time, but definitely in my top list of favorite games ever.
Right.
What do you got for #1, Brad?
My #1 is Showtime's #2. It's got to be Skyrim. I'll give a shout out to Oblivion because it's a solid RPG.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Just f***ing sneak an honorable mention in.
I have to at this point. This guy. Anyway, Oblivion aside, that's not what we're talking about here.
Fucking right, it's not.
But Oblivion aside, Skyrim itself, I put so many countless hours into it when I first picked up on it. I got into it later than most people did. Like you said, it released in 2011, which makes it 8 years old. And to this day, people still play it every day. I don't play it every day, but I find myself going back to it the most of almost any game, really. Mostly because of the modding community, too. That makes it a little bit more timeless. In addition to everything that's in there already, you can add so much more, as long as you're not completely ridiculous about it. Just make the game kind of broken, like some people have in the past. But it has a solid quest line, the storyline about the dragons returning to Tamriel for the first time in like thousands of years, and the countless side quests. You can just walk up to somebody, they'll say something to you, and then you got a whole new side quest, and it almost distracts you from the main story. You go off and do all that, but it has a massive, expansive area. Really, still a beautiful game to this day with all the scenery and the graphics.
Timeless.
Very timeless for now. I hope it lasts, because it's really a great game. And it's a testament to RPGs, and it did take away the class system that was in Oblivion and previous Elder Scrolls games, but in my honest opinion, I think it was a good choice, because you can choose to be one thing but then you can make a different decision down the road. You can level up different skills later on if you decide you're not happy with what you started as. Which, I mean, a trope I see and something that happens to me almost every playthrough is you could start out as a big two-handed brute wielding a battle axe, but then you slowly become a stealth archer through the rest of the game.
That happens to everybody.
Everybody.
Stealth archer. Regardless, Skyrim is my #1 pick because of the countless hours I put into it and how I can still pick it up today, even though it's 8 years old. And I can go jump right back in, start a whole new adventure, and it's still fun. Any final thoughts?
Well, I've had a good run here at the Spoiler Alert Network. It's fun working with you guys, so this is probably my last video because I guarantee I'm fired.
Very likely.
How did that happen?
So, I guess my problem with words just stems to letters and acronyms in general. So, Brad sent me the message. He said, "Hey, we're going to work on our top 5 RPG games." And I was like, "Oh, cool! RPGs and games. I can do that. Let me find some rocket launchers that are dope." And that was about the extent of my choices. So,
Now, props to the research you put into that, though. Looking up specific weapons from games. That's a good idea. So solid.
This is a solid list for sure.
Yeah.
I've never done anything wrong better in my life. This was the best bad choice I've ever made.
Proud of you, buddy. You're gonna get a sticker today.
The scratch and sniff.
Oh, we got cookies too. You want a cookie?
Oh yeah. Now we're just patronizing me. I hope this doesn't make the clip. Like this. Now I just feel like a child. So.
Alright, so that's our top 5 discussion. Very interesting lists. Be sure to come back, check out more videos we got coming soon. We're working hard on these. Hopefully we can get some more out to you soon. And be sure to check back to our Facebook page. We do have an official website in the works right now. We'll update as that comes out and more gets done. But check us out. We're right here on YouTube, Facebook. We do have an Instagram and Twitter. Not a whole lot on it. But be sure to like, comment, and subscribe and come back for more content.
Stay dedicated.